everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm going to be showing you my student teacher binder in Notion. I do have a free template and I'll link it down below for you guys. I just want to give you a walkthrough and tour of it. If you haven't seen my previous videos of student teaching at WGU, I highly recommend that you watch those first before this one. Otherwise, it can be a bit confusing. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. All right, so here we have the main page of the student teacher binder in Notion. Now, when you first get this and you click on the link down below, this screen is going to be locked, and that's because I wanted to make sure everyone was able to access the original copy first. So what you want to do is you're going to want to come up here to the right-hand corner, and you're going to click a little button that'll say duplicate. And that basically means that you're going to make a copy. And when you make a copy, you're able to edit it and personalize it for yourself. But after that, you'll get this page. This is the main page. On the left-hand corner, we have school information, everything from the district that you are placed in, from the school, the website, calendar of events, the policies, attendance record, which I'll get to in a second. Meet the student teacher. This is something that maybe you send out to the parents, the teacher, and the students that you're working with. It's just a little place for you if you'd like to put that there. A place for you to access your WGU degree plan and your email. Again, this is mostly for WGU students, and it goes along with my student teacher videos, but you can make this for yourself if you go to another university. Over here, we have contact information from your mentor teacher and clinical supervisor. And in my student teacher video, I talk a lot about the clinical supervisor and the Go React link and what Go React is. So this is a place for you to place that link here. And we also have the calendar. And then we have all these sections that I'll get to in a second. First, I want to take a look at the attendance record. So this is great because this is just for you. The days are really important because it goes along with a particular assignment that you have to complete for student teaching, as I talked about in my previous video. So this is a way for you to record like day 1, day 2. You have to have at least 60 days. So it's a great way to keep track of that and where you're at for everything else. The date, the day of the week, the day period. Were you absent? Was there a teacher work day? Did you go half a day, all day? And then for teaching, were you being observed that day? Did you co-teach? You and your mentor teacher taught, or did you solo teach? The first section is about your classroom, and the first few days of, I think like the first week of student teaching, especially for the first week of student teaching, you'll want to familiarize yourself with the classroom that you're working with. So it's important to have all this information at hand. The classroom schedule, the rules, the website. These are other sections within that section. Classroom procedures is great. And this is just a place for you to keep track of all those in-place procedures that you're going to follow through with your mentor teacher. Of course, when you have your own classroom, you can create your own. But this is important, like if you're teaching a lesson and a student asks their hand to go to the bathroom, or they want a pencil, or how do they line up? What's the hallway behavior like? What's the morning routine? How should they behave in groups or centers? This is just a great way to keep track of all of that information. For the classroom layout, I give you option of whether you want to actually post images, whether you create the layout yourself, or you actually post pictures of the classroom. Make sure students are not in the view for that. I just let you personalize this for yourself. I love this section the most. Student roster, it's so cool. One of the things that I really learned from PCE was to not have all the information about kids in one single spot. So I really created this section for that. So we've got the child's name, their number, their birthday month. If they have an IEP or 504, I give you multiple different needs that they may have. Or if they don't have anything, you can just put none. Medical information, sometimes IEPs and 504 plans have something specific for medical stuff, and you would just make a note of that here. If not, they may just have like a food allergy or another medical issue, or they may have nothing. All their interests, you can always add more if need be, favorite subjects, and what is the best way for them to learn. Obviously, you're going to have kids that have more than one of these or use all of them really. You definitely want to have a variety of activities that covers these, but I think it's great in case you need to work with a particular student or a small group of students. Down below, we have additional information about a particular student when they're with their IEP, so you can write a little description and any accommodations or modifications that go along with that. And then classroom management is very similar to classroom procedures. You've got just a place to put all the information that is already in place. Remember, it's not your classroom, it's somebody else's. You're just there to really learn, grow. So, are there any classroom expectations? What's the behavior plan? What's the environment look like? Because that really goes apart. Any management systems, they use rewards. I had a classroom that did class cash or something like that, or they did class coupons or group points or whatever. So this is just a perfect place to record that because you're going to be using that when you definitely dive in as a student teacher. And that basically concludes this section. So going back to the main section, curriculum overview, this is very short and sweet, but this is a great way to keep track of your state standards on hand and the type of curriculum that the school or classroom uses, particularly for a subject. I think it's great for you to record that here and maybe keep note of it. If you land a job in that school and you're already familiar with the curriculum, you already have that ready to go. And again, it's just easier for you if you have that information on file. Next is lesson planning. Sorry about that. This may be confusing if you haven't seen my student teaching video for WGU. Again, watch that before you do this one because you may get confused about this whole page. But if you've already watched it, great. So this is a great way for you to keep track of your student teaching lesson plans. You have about at least 6 observations and then a midterm and final evaluation that I talked about. So for every observation, you have a place to put your lesson plan, feedback from your mentor, teacher, and clinical supervisor. For midterm and final, you just have a place to put their feedback. For TPA, this really depends if you're doing WGU's version or the Ed TPA. If you do the Ed TPA, you have at least 3. If you're in elementary education, you do 4. If you do WGU TPA, you do 5. So, and then I just have a little place for you to put their information and lesson plan here. And I also have a place for you to put reflections because I think it's important for you to, after you teach and everything, for you to really reflect. That way you can do better for each observation and all the other evaluations that you have to do. Next, we have professional development. You may go to some, it's not required for you to get a certain number of hours for student teaching, but if the teacher goes, you definitely go. I made this little template for you. We've got topic, goals, notes, action plan, your reflections of the event. You're just really writing what they're saying, or you can also write how you can be a part of it as well. For assigned to, we have everyone in the entire school, a particular subject area, or a grade level. And then we also have calendar. I highly recommend that you use Notion's calendar if you're going to use this template especially. And next we have meetings. This is particular to WGU, but something interesting to know about meetings is that you've got pre-observation and post-observation meetings, as I discussed in my previous video. So for pre-observation, expectations, what was discussed, and your support team's advice. And then for post, it's basically the same thing. You have what was discussed, the feedback, and even your own reflections. For both assignment, the color coding stays the same for both, and you have all of the observations and the TPA. And then you also have a place for the midterm and final information. So again, these are going to be your official reports. They give you your reflections and your action plan for each of those. Student teaching. This is where you keep all the lesson information, the activities, If you're in WGU and you created all those lesson plans, you didn't really have to execute any of them. Well, for student teaching, you will. So I think it's a great way to have a place for all of that. Let me just show you. So you have a place for your lesson plan, any activities and resources, because you've got to have copies of those on hand, student work samples, assessment criteria like a rubric or a checklist or something. The data, you'll want to create a chart for that, your Go React video link of how you did, and then you can kind of self-evaluate yourself as well. And I do give you access to those previous tabs that will be helpful for you, and a calendar for any other observations that you may have. And the last section is all about teacher resources, because you may have to access them for a particular lesson plan, or just for teaching in general. The name of that resource, and you can definitely have a place for you to access it. And again, this may be great for student teaching, but especially when you move into your own classroom, I think it's really great to have that on hand. Well, that concludes the tour of the Notion template for the student teacher binder. I do have like hands-on copy if you'd rather that instead. But if you want that Notion template, it will be free and linked down below for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Anything that I kind of mentioned, I will link down below for you as well. Again, thank you for watching. It's been a wonderful experience, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye, everyone.